Browning Buckmark, first shots. This is a camper model, standard, nothing special. Love the Buckmark though. Very reminiscent of a Colt Woodsman. Bulk ammo. Let's hit it. Prepare to suck. This is another by request gun review here in the Nutnfancy project. I think I've had at least 3 TMPers ask me to do this video. I'm kidding. It's been more like 3,000 since 2008, and finally I'm getting around to it. It's spring 2014, if you're keeping track. And yes, I do by request videos whenever I can. You know, you love the gear, I love the gear, the stars align, we can get the fonts. Yeah, we'll get it. But not for crap I don't like, not for guns I know I won't like. Generally, I just avoid those. There's too many great guns to spend my time on. Kind of like this one. The Browning Buckmark in inventory here in the Nutnfancy project, and this is no lie, since 2009. What? You guys already know, you longtime subs, that I just take a while to get to things. I'm feeling it finally. I really should have posted this again back in 2010, early 2010. That would have given us plenty of time to shoot them. The good news is we've got thousands of rounds shot in actually not 1 but 2 Browning Buckmarks. The one on the table is actually my overall favorite model still that Browning does. It is the Browning Buckmark UDX. I think that stands for their proprietary name, Ultra Grip Deluxe. Laminated stipple wood finger groove grips on it. This one is in kind of dark gray green. Really cool and functional. We'll visit that issue, trust me. Love it. Love the looks. You're going to see that. This is going to be a rave review. Let me just throw it out right now. 10 out of 10 for the Browning Buckmark.
Some bad guys jacking
you
up.
So this is the one we've shot a lot. And I have shown it in several shooting videos. Several running guns, you've seen the guns in action. I just have not got around to doing the formal tabletop where all that data is collated in an easy, referenceable source. This is what it's going to be. And below you're going to see guys' comments who own these guns that are going to give you more information and their data with it. It'll probably coincide with mine because these are Hall of Famers through and through. And then we shot this one. Oh, I guess I need a sound effect. No. There we go. I know, my sound effects suck. This is a Browning Buckmark camper model, a bare bones model. And yet, as you will see when this tabletop review progresses, you're getting so much for your money. Which brings us, let's just do it right off the bat, to the also Hall of Famer here in TMP, the Ruger 2245. Raved about it. I love it. There's lots of different models, lots of different finishes. I reviewed not too long ago the Ruger 2245 Lite, which, as I said in that video, is pretty much a rip-off on the Tactical Solutions Pack Lite, which you're seeing right here. That is a replacement upper barrel unit for your Ruger 2245, also available for the Mark series of pistols. Very accurate, super lightweight, durable, love it. It is expensive. And if you really want to go to town, put on that Volquartz and trigger. I have a separate video out on that if you're a 2245 fan, or for that matter, Mark II, Mark III fan. So this is heavily modified, and then I put these aftermarket grips. It is before the integrated grips from the factory. This model is, I'm talking. As it's modded here, huge Hall of Famer. Love it, love it, love it. If you're going to steer away for whatever reason from the Ruger 2245 Lite and you want to go with a heavier, more or easier to shoot Ruger 2245, get this. Here comes some controversy perhaps, but it's how I feel. So let's say we're going to stack up, if I'm trying to remember the model numbers, a standard KP512 against this one. Not modified, which by the way took a lot of money and time to do this. Again, the Ruger 2245 mimics this, definitely not in the trigger. The stock Ruger 2245 triggers, they're not good. I've said that. In the review in '09, I said that. They need work. Lots of take up. They're imprecise. They're not great. But let's say I'm going to go out and I spend, let's say you have $400 spent on a 22 pistol. You don't want to modify it. You don't want to fool around with it. You don't need a project gun. You just want a 22 pistol that works. And you want one that's going to be around in the 30-ounce range. I recommend the Browning Buckmark over the 2245. What? Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you why as the video progresses. Don't get me wrong. I still love the 2245, for that matter, the Mark II, Mark III. They're not going anywhere from my playlists. I highly recommend them. I have them myself. They're not getting sold. But you just get a more complete and actually in some ways a more reliable pistol in the Browning Buckmark. And actually, as you'll see from a receipt I have and found, at an astounding price. So let's get to it. First, let's cover some models. That's the UDX, talked about that. This particular model with these grips, I think, is discontinued. This is a Browning Buckmark camper model. And now it is, I wrote it on my wrist so I wouldn't forget it. It's been replaced by high-tech note method. The Ultra Grip FX, which I think are going to be better grips than this. As we'll see in ergonomics, the shape on these grips on this basic camper model is great. I just don't dig the rubber. It grabs, it's kind of smoothed out over the years. I mean, we've been running it for 5 years, so it's not quite as grabby anymore. And it works. I'll show you in accessories some other options if you don't like the grips on your Browning Buckmark. But now it's been superseded by that Ultra Grip FX camper model. And the camper is going to be just as you see here. 5.5-inch barrel, matte finish. They may have some other different finishes through the years. Then you have the Buckmark Plus models. I think they're going to be wearing the True Glow fiber optic sights, just like you see on this UDX one. Which, I will say this again, are excellent. Love them. Then they do have a Browning Buckmark Light. It's going to have an aluminum barrel, and the factory website lists that at 28 ounces. That could be a little bit off. I think it should be lighter than that, but I didn't weigh it. But that's going to be a great option. Fluted barrel, the Browning Buckmark Light. Love that gun. It's cool. It's going to compete very favorably against the Ruger 2245 Light or a Taxol Pack Light Modified 2245. Whew. Lots of terms. Then if you want to mount a scope, you're going to have to go with a Buckmark Contour. That's going to wear a Picatinny rail on top. You'll see that Picatinny rail also in the Buckmark Field, Target, and Hunter models, which will come and go through the years. Different finishes, different grips. It's always that way. I mean, this gun, this particular coloration, I don't know if it's being made with this stock coloration. Doesn't matter. They're all pretty awesome. Buckmark's been around a long time, since 1985. And there are fans that love the Buckmark and they don't like Ruger, and vice versa. I'm in both camps, but like I said at the outset, if you want a gun that runs very reliably, that won't have any problems, that you don't have to project, trigger, Buckmark. On to philosophy of use. I'm going to go quick on this because I've covered it so many times in all my other 22 pistol reviews. You know how it goes. Recreational is number one, and that's what we've used it for a lot in our own family and now project for crew and stuff that come out. Shooting it for fun. There's nothing funner than taking your 22 pistol out and working over the plate rack. You know, they have that really wicked 22 rimfire plate rack that Action Target does. Use a Nutnfancy discount code if you buy it. Save 15%. Or whatever the percentage is. I honestly forget. But it's worth it. I think it's... No, it might be 20. I should know these things. I know, but I forget. But that plate rack is awesome. You could use a full-size plate rack. You could use steel targets of any kind. You don't have to use steel. You can use aluminum cans. Great pistol. It is a gun that you can take out to a camp out, and someone who's never shot before can be turned on to guns with a Buckmark. You know, females who have never shot before, don't turn them on to a freaking 44 Magnum. Your 40 Smith & Wesson, for that matter. Your, I don't know, carry pistol. Have them shoot a 22 pistol, preferably one that has some weight. That's right, you heard me right. And I've said this before in other reviews. Weight. The UDX model here is 32 ounces. The camper is 35 ounces, if my scale's right. That's good weight because it allows you to shoot it accurately. And that's exactly what you want to do, is just shoot it accurately and fast. If you run a super lightweight 22 pistol like this, it's going to be a little bit harder to shoot.
Failure.
Not saying you can't do it, you can. But lightweight pistols kind of wander. Philosophy of use. Training pistol. It has a grip angle very similar to a 1911. The controls are kind of the same. I think all this is overplayed, by the way. I've said that in other reviews. Hey man, I want a training pistol that has the exact same controls as my pistol. I'm of the school of thought that shooting is shooting. And if it's somewhat similar, you're good to go. You go shoot out, you shoot with a pellet gun, a pistol, you're still practicing marksmanship fundamentals, and that will serve to your benefit, whatever other platform you shoot later. So keep that in mind. I think it's a great training pistol because of the weight. If you plan on carrying it, backpacking with it, integrating it into a bug out kit of any kind, I would go with a Buckmark light, getting it as light as possible, of course. Small game, absolutely, you could hunt with it, and I would admire anyone who could shoot a jackrabbit on the run with a freaking open sight 22 pistol. I've never seen it done. Not that I've gone out that many times jackrabbit hunting in the last, I don't know, 20 years for that matter, but in the 80s I used to all the time. And the guys I went with were running 22 pistols back then. It would be a Ruger, probably a Mark II or something. Ain't never seen, I shouldn't say never. I think I made a hit on one time, wounded it, finished it off. I'm talking jackrabbits here. In an area, by the way, that was infested with jackrabbits. Just throw that out there. I mean, the area is not overrun with jackrabbits. I will not and do not advocate hunting them. They're needed for natural predators. There, I said it. Take care of nature. It'll take care of you. By the way, I should say this. Why don't we pretend for this video that we can actually get 22 ammo? Deal? I mean, check this billboard out. They're actually giving away 22 ammo at a gun show as an attractor. Hey, come out to the gun show. You just might win some 22 ammo. Holy cow. No, I don't have the answers. I don't know where 22 ammo is, and I can't imagine it takes that much industrial capacity to create it. I mean, crap. Here we are, what, 2 years running where 22 ammo is scarce. So I'm just going to assume, one, you were smart enough to stock up a stash of 22 ammo. And honestly, all the rimfire reviews that I do here would have come to a grinding halt if we didn't have a stash. Yeah, we just need it for testing and review. Forget everything else, otherwise I can't do them. Or you can somehow get 22 ammo, that you're lucky enough to go to a gun show and win it. Or whatever. I guess Canadians are saying they can get 22 ammo. All that's subject to change. Philosophy of use. Pest control. Yeah, absolutely. I would prefer actually a very short carbine 22, kind of like that Henry Arms H0000000. I'm just making up zeros at this point. L, the carbine, the large loop carbine, where I can shoot 22 shorts in that thing, and it's so quiet. I can put glass on it. That's something I can schwack out to, 25 yards. The current models that you see here of the Browning Buckmark are not TB, that is threaded barrel, so you don't have a suppressor capability. They will only run on 22 long rifles, so you're going to make some noise when you pop with it.
Bounce all over the place.
We know that. There you go. That's philosophy of use. I would say gift item too. College graduate, hey, here's your UDX. Gift that will last a lifetime. Size, width, weight, balance, and feel, all that other crap I talk about. This is not a polymer framed gun like the 2245. And I don't have a problem with polymer. I'm a huge fan of a lot of polymer guns. Glock, Smith & Wesson, M&P series, even some H&Ks. It's great. However, some guys love the 7075 aluminum. The Buckmark's your gun, dudes. And you're really not gaining that much weight over all the competitors. Not that there's that many, to be honest. They haven't survived. 7075 CNC milled frame is in your Buckmark. That is pretty awesome. And that, again, gives it some beneficial weight and mass. I should just say weight. 32 ounces for this, I think 35 for that. Well, let's just call it 32-ish for all the models other than the light model. 5.5-inch barrel. Those change too, according to the model you get. So if you go with a hunter or field or target model, it's going to have a longer barrel. The feel is outstanding. on a Buckmark. I mean, out of the box, it just points quickly. The balance is excellent. And you're going to see this recurring theme pop up over and over again in this review, and that is you don't have to do anything to the Buckmark. And I can't say as much for the Ruger 2245 in this type of version. I'm talking, I'll roll in some photos for you. In other words, the stainless steel ones. Can you shoot them out of box? Yep, I said so in my review. Did it for years. However, it bothered me. There were some issues with the gun that I just like, I don't like this, I don't like that. It needs some work. And lo and behold, what results out of it? A project gun and money spent. You don't need to do that with a Buckmark. Good to go. Here's another thing I like about the Buckmark versus the Ruger 2245. And anyone who has shot the type extensively will know exactly what I'm talking about. The magazine is better in the Buckmark. What? Now, I'm not talking about construction. They're both excellent as far as durability, construction. But in my experience, and that's all I need to go by. I mean, I've shot both these guns so much. I don't need to go on the internet searching, put my thumb in the air, figure out what everyone else is saying, and then parrot that. Nah, bullshit. I don't do that. I got my own data. And it goes something like this. On a 2245 magazine, this top round can actually pop up and the feed angle changes and it causes jams. You actually have to make sure that top round is always seated. And if you're pulling out of a pistol pouch and you're doing a speed reload, it may become dislodged, and lo and behold, your first round jammed. I've shown that on camera over the years. I've never seen that with a Browning Buckmark. Not never. I haven't seen it. It just presents it at a very consistent angle, and it seems to me at a, I don't know, less steep angle. You know, maybe you guys have had that issue. I haven't. I like the magazines better. They're well constructed. They are a little bit heavier than the Ruger 2245, right? You can see the differences here. They both have loading buttons, and we're talking about firepower, so we know they're 10 rounds because that's standard for the 22 pistol. The only thing I've ever seen deviate from that formula is this awesome Hall of Famer too. Smith & Wesson 422. It was a 12-round magazine. This is a gun that should have survived, but it did not. The current Smith & Wesson 22 is, ugh. No, I'm not reviewing that one. Thank you very much. I like the mag better. They're about $28, so they're not overly expensive. They're not overly cheap, but that's about what you're going to pay. Heck, for either of these, it's going to be about that. Firepower, 10 rounds, pretty standard, like the mag. How about accuracy? Well, let's go back to, what do we got here? 2011, 7 yards. This is my son's tactical doodle. Standing. This is the UDX right here. I don't remember if it's in the desert or if it's at a gun range. Doesn't really matter. Well, actually, it does kind of matter. The desert's a lot harder to shoot at. One, you're exhausted by the time we throw all that damn steel out there. I mean, whew, you're tired. There's my excuse. Good group there. Decent there. Decent. 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 What you're going to see is the Browning Buckmark will shoot as accurately as any other 22 pistol. They're all excellent. I'm talking the Rugers too. They just shoot so well. They shoot better than we can shoot. This is me, 9 yards standing. That's a sweet freaking group right there. This is 2011, November of 2011. Very happy with that. We're shooting CCIs here. Excellent. 9 yards. This is mini mags, solids, I think. Here's a 22-yard group standing. If I can find the footage on the hard drive somewhere, I will show it to you. Love that group. That's good. For me, that's about as good as I can do these days. Standing? Freaking two. No, actually, it's bigger than that because there's some up here. But that's pretty good. Group there, group there, group there, group there. Accuracy is, I'll say it's outstanding. It'll shoot more accurately than you can shoot. The barrels are, the chambers are hand ringed, and also the crowns, as you can see. Does that, like, in and of itself make an accurate pistol? No, you do. You could take a marginal pistol, and if you put it in the hands of a really awesome shooter, it's going to shoot well. So let's be real. But it's nice. We're talking quality features, quality materials, and if we talk about accuracy, we need to talk about the sights. Which on, let's go back to the Ruger 2245, and I don't have a stock one here to show you. I have lots of photos though. They're okay. It depends on which model. Some models of 2245, the sights are phenomenal, and other ones, they suck. It just depends. On this one, this is my favorite sight setup right here. This is a True Glow, if I'm getting the brand right. Fiber optic sights. So you have a high vis green light pipe up front, and they have what they call in the back their Pro Target rear. It's click adjustable for windage and elevation, no glare. It is a very nice sight picture. Not quite as nice as, or fine I should say, as, I don't know, old-timey 22 pistols, which seem to be a little bit more precise, but I love it. On the basic models of Buckmark, you can expect to find these types of sights. You'll still get that fully adjustable Pro Target rear sight, which again, we're talking about the value. This is what I'm talking about. So this is the bare bones model, and I'm still getting this rear sight. Where's that 422? I mean, they made adjustable versions of this, but this is a bare bones 422 model, and that's a polymer rear sight blade, which just happens to shoot on. But I mean, that's a Kano, right? It's not serrated. There's no visibility additions. Great sights. I love the sights on the Buckmark. They are overall, my overall impression, out of box better than the Ruger 2245. One of them, and I'm saying 2245, but you could roll in, again, Mark II, Mark III series for that matter. 8-inch sight radius too on the Buckmark. I'm a big fan of sight radius because it makes you shoot more accurately. I do like the gold-plated trigger. It's kind of a second kind of cool thing, don't you think? Very cool. And let's see what these pull at. So this is the UDX, right?
Both hits.
Mags out, electronic trigger scale coming. And I know some guys' Buckmarks will pull lighter than this, but mine doesn't pull that light. I think it's around 5 pounds on this UDX. Oh, it has a magazine disconnect. I know, that sucks. And there's your button for it, by the way. There's probably a way to defeat it.
Aim for the orange.
No, I haven't done it. Because it's, and I don't know, in this gun it's just not obnoxious. I don't have to fool around with it. And I'm trying to put a 422 magazine in a Buckmark. I don't have to fool around with it in field strip. So, you know, in a non-combat pistol, and notice I kind of omitted that from philosophy of use, because I just don't think of these as that. Sure, 22 could be used as that, said it 1,000 times, but I just don't think of it as that. Here we go, back to trigger pull. I think it's around 5. Okay, 4.7 on that. The thing about the Buckmark trigger, which is excellent, is that it's so crisp.
That's fun.
There's hardly any takeoff. It has a short reset. It's just clean. You guys know I'm a trigger snob. That's why I put the Volquarsons in the 2245s. Because I hate the 2245 trigger. It either has to be gunsmithed or it has to be replaced. That's how much I hate it. I usually put a Volquarson. So 5.1 on the camper. Now there's a mod that there's a lot of information out there on. It's called the Higgis Flip. You're basically going to take your sear spring inside your Buckmark and flip it around. So the long leg of the sear spring is going to be on the left side. The short side of the sear spring is going to be on the right side. And it supposedly reduces your trigger pull on your Buckmark by, I think, 2 pounds. No, I didn't do it. Would you recommend doing it? You're asking me? I'll say no. There's your answer. No, because again, I'm a trigger snob, and these Buckmarks shoot so well. You saw the accuracy. You're seeing a lot of video of us schwacking steel with it.
It's on now.
I never came away from the pistol going, you know what, I'm not shooting this pistol well because the trigger sucks. And honestly, I gotta tell you this. I never say that, because if I'm not shooting well, it's not even with a bad trigger. It's me. I own it. It's not the pistol. Even with a bad trigger, a good marksman can overcome it. Do it.
Halfway loaded.
Triggers are outstanding. I do not recommend replacement of them. If you want to do the flip, the Higgis flip, or whatever it's called, rock on. There's lots of information out there to do it. I don't like the magazine disconnect. It sucks. Again, you could probably defeat it. How's this though? Look at those awesome paddles for both the safety right here and the slide release right there. You will not have to replace those at all. You won't have to modify them at all. I don't know if I can say that for a Ruger 2245 because they are somewhat low profile, and there's been guys that have taken springs out and do it so that all they have to do, and I actually do that on my guns as well. So all I have to do is pop the bolt back and it releases. All that's kind of a separate issue. I don't have an issue with the 2245 or the Mark II, Mark III controls. They're cool, but they definitely are not as easy to access as these. These, like I said, they're paddles. We're talking about ergonomics. They're excellent. We talked about the grip angle already. The grips on this one. The UDX is hands down my favorite. I don't think you need to do anything with these grips. And if you do, be careful because springs go a-flying, apparently. You take those grip panels off and you're going to have trigger springs and other things coming out. Watch where they land. You might need them later.
Awesome gun. Awesome.
Ergonomics, I think we've established. Pretty squared away on this gun. How about the finger grooves? Some guys may ask me about that. Do you like, the straight gripped model or the finger groove model? I think the finger groove model is more of marketing stuff where they say you can establish a more consistent grip for target accuracy. I don't know if I totally buy that because I shot both these guns for hundreds and hundreds of rounds. I didn't really notice, oh, I'm shooting the UDX so much better. I mean, if you're going to grip, you're going to do a high grip. You're going to come up right here to the undercut portion of the trigger guard, by the way, which is excellent.
That's how the cavalry does it, gents.
And there you are. I mean, it's going to be really consistent. You'll have no problems. Set up for righties, so sorry, lefties. I didn't really see if it's swappable. I don't think it is, though. I love that, though. I wouldn't replace that as well. I mean, just run it as is. Again, out of box. There's that theme going. Field strip. Well, we could talk all day about how the frustration level on the 2245, and for that matter, the Mark series, is pretty high. I mean, I can do it. I'm not going to do it here. I have a video out showing it. A lot of people do. I mean, I think Allie the Mountain Dog has a field stripping video on the freaking 2245. Go look that up. It's not that painful. Here, you're going to need a tool. And the tool you're going to need is a little Allen wrench. Another little Allen wrench. And you're going to pop off that slide bridge. This portion right here. That'll allow you to remove the top slide and clean the gun. I have a manual around here somewhere floating around, and it was kind of funny to me. I was going to show you the images in the manual about how they say to field strip the gun. Apparently I don't have my manual with me, so sorry. The bottom line is they don't have it in there. They recommend just cleaning the gun with a slide retracted. That's it. And you take your you take your toothbrush, clean your chamber area, clean your extractor here, clean your bolt face. And I would say this, for most shooters and for the volume they're going to do, I say that's completely adequate. Now, once, I don't know, every couple thousand rounds, I'll take the slide off. I'll take the slide bridge off. I'll lubricate the slide. I'll get in there, clean all the gunk. I'll lubricate it with a very light, precise oil like rim oil. Put it back together. Good for another couple thousand. That's just how I'm cleaning the gun. I don't really have a problem with the takedown of the Buckmark. I'm not doing it here for time. Just take the slide bridge off. It's easy. If you want to remove the barrel, you can do so right here. Again, the manual, which I promise at one time I did have, is pretty skosh in information on that, by the way. How about accessories? Theme is, I think we've talked about it, out of box, good to go. If I was going to do anything to a Buckmark, here's what I would do. I would get a UDX model or a camper model. Doesn't matter what. Money's tight, get the camper. They both shoot exactly the same as far as trigger and accuracy. We're just talking second kind of cool. A little bit longer barrel in some of the UDX models. The awesome grips which we mentioned. But then go over to Tactical Solutions and get one of these. This is a super lightweight trail light barrel for the Buckmark. Check this bad boy out. Oh, daddy like. Now that is threaded. You throw that on. Now you have a full suppressor capability. You want to go back to PES POU or perhaps defensive POU, I'd be much more on board with this. Because now the gun's lighter, it's shorter, suppressor capable, and that to me opens up more capabilities instead of a 32 ounce 22 that's loud. Follow? Awesome accessory. Still expensive. Last time I checked, I don't have a discount code for you, so sorry. But if you go to PFI store, he sells these for as cheap as I've seen anywhere. Link, upper left. Go there. Tell him I sent you, of course. He'll know you're a TMPer if you show up. He takes good care of you guys. How about this? We're talking about the grips. Hey, I hate those grips, and I'm stuck with a hand-me-down camper model, Nutnfancy. What do I do? Well, learn to live with them, because that's the cheapest way to go, right? Or get a pair of Tactical Solutions aluminum grips. No. These are not super cheap, by the way. These are expensive. But they are milled aluminum, and dude, do they have some traction on them. Outstanding traction, and they look really good. Once upon a time, they were available in different colors. I like the matte black the best. They are outstanding grips. Put those on. Be good to go. You have scopable models. We've talked about that. So if you want to throw on a red dot, you'll have to get those versions. These ones don't have it. That might be a leg up that the 2245 has, because standard models, to include the 2245 Lite, include the scope rail. To me, that's value. You don't have to add it. So we'll put that check mark in the box for Ruger. Trigger, I wouldn't do anything to it. Talked about that. Holsters, I just bounced into Amazon and found this holster by Browning out of Morgan, Utah again, for $23, subject to change. Yeah, it's a basic holster, but it works. I mean, if you're going to be walking around and you want to holster your gun up, rock it. $23? I mean, if you're going to practice speed drills, you might want to look around. But there's tons of holsters for the the Browning Buckmark. Now, let's see. Oh, yeah, Tactical Solutions also makes an extended magazine release. I don't think, once again, that is needed. The one that's on the gun, absolutely perfect. That's all I'm going to say on accessories. Accessorize to your heart's content, but I think as project guns go, the 2245 is in dire need of projecting. The older models, again, the 2245 Lite, ones that come more complete, maybe not so much. And you may love the trigger out of box on a 2245. I understand. How about value? How about this? Awesome. Here's this camper model. We purchased it in 2009 with the TMP ad funds. Check this. So it's January 2009, $279. Not a special price. It's a store called Gallinson's. It's in downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. Tell them Nutnfancy sent you, by the way. Good old-timey gun store, and they've always had really good prices. Then I bought some ammo with it, reloading crap. $300 for an heirloom quality, lasts forever, 22 pistol? I'm down. Shoots accurately with that super crisp, fast rate resetting trigger. And honestly, let's jump into durability and reliability. It's better than the 2245. It just is in my own shooting. I have more jams with 2245s than I do with Browning Buckmarks. That being said, Browning Buckmarks will jam too. They're not perfect. It is a rimfire pistol, like I've always said. If you don't like it, shoot center fire. Right? Then you don't have to worry about it. Hey, I don't like my gun jams. Well, here's your 9mm. Go out and spend $17 a box of ammo. Then you won't have any jams if you got a good gun. Now, other versions like the UDX are going to be more expensive. You know, I don't know what they are, 5, 6-ish. Are they worth it? Yeah, they are. And you can get special variations occasionally, like Gallery of Guns may do a special one. Here's one they're doing now. It's not that special. It's just like a basic camper model with the Ultra Grip FX and a True Glow sight on it. But the price is pretty special for what you're getting for that gun. Value is outstanding. Durability, reliability, overall lifetime excellence is what I will say. They also have, by the way, a Buckmark rifle, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Are you turned on by that rifle, Nutton? No. It's a 10-round magazine. If I'm going to be sporting a rifle around, I'm going to go with a freaking Ruger 1022 with a 30-rounder or more. And it's going to be super lightweight. Nah, I wouldn't. I just don't see the purpose. Unless you're living in a locale where you can't have more than 10-round magazine, then that particular Buckmark rifle would make sense. Highly recommended, Hall of Famer. Out of box, if you're going for the heavier versions, I preferred over the Ruger. Subject to change, but that's the way I'm feeling after 5 years of intensive shooting with a Browning Buckmark and the 2245. I mean, I've shot both equally. Sadly, we don't have the other competitors around, like the Smith & Wesson 422, like the, oh, you guys are going to freak on this, The Sport King High Standard. Oh, yeah, that's a great gun. But they're gone. They're basically down to Buckmark and 2245 Mark II, Mark III. That's a Nutnfancy review. If you're buying a 22 pistol, you will not regret this. Hope you liked it. Thanks for watching. See ya.